So if your spouse is a workaholic, you know the toll it can take on a marriage and your whole family. But what do you do to address the problem? Joining me is Dr. Marty Tashman with some steps on reconnecting with your spouse. Dr. Marty, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, when do you know you might be having those feelings that your husband or perhaps your wife is working too much, that they've become a workaholic? How much is too much?
Too much is when it's in your heart and you're feeling left is part of it. It's about being abandoned. And so there are two ways to look at it. For him, he's working as hard as he can. For you, it's like you're feeling left alone at home. You're feeling lonely. So too much is on the one side, feeling lonely.
So then if you're feeling lonely, what's the first step to getting that spouse back?
The first step to getting him back is to see the world from his view. He sees it in two ways. One of the ways he sees it is if he's a hero. He's protecting the family.
I've got to do this because that's our bread and butter. I'm doing the best that I can. This is for the family.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And the other one is he's a victim. Everybody else is doing it. I don't have any choice. I'm going to be fired.
This is just the way it is. I've got to work hard. This is a hard job.
Yep.
Okay.
And so those are the two perspectives. If you come from a loneliness perspective, there's a disconnect. You're feeling lonely and you're saying, I miss you, and he's saying, I'm being a hero, or I'm locked into what's going on. So let me go back to your question.
Yeah.
The first way to do it is to sit next to him emotionally, to acknowledge the fact that it is hard for him, and he is working really hard, to acknowledge his hero-dom, and to acknowledge the fact that he feels stuck.
Okay.
Because if you challenge it, what's going to happen is he's just going to defend his...
Conflict.
Exactly.
And the conflict's going to begin.
Exactly.
So how can that conversation start?
Okay, it can start with a non-attacking kind of thing, which says something like, honey, I miss you. I wish you were around more, but I understand you're working really hard. That's a place to start.
Okay.
Okay. Then let's go to the next step.
Okay.
Make it easy for him to do something different.
How can we do that?
I have no idea. No.
Don't tell me that.
Okay. In sessions, I make them come for the second session. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. What you do is you offer a very easy suggestion and ask his input. For example, how about if we take 10 minutes to spend some time together?
And it's also something specific, as opposed to just complaining about it. Honey, I miss you. You're never here. You're never here. Why aren't you
That's
here
right.
more? Why can't we spend more time together? Say something specific and start out, maybe small, by saying, 10 minutes a day, can we set aside that it's just you and I?
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Also,
then,
there's
I'm
another
sorry.
piece too.
Yeah.
Is men see themselves as problem solvers.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that
So-
one of the unique differences that sometimes exist between men and women?
Exactly, because what women see themselves as wanting to vent and getting it off their chest.
I say that all the time. I just need to get it out of my head. I
Right.
just need to get it out of my head.
Right, exactly. So, and the guy's saying, don't you want the solution? Okay.
And I say, no, I just want you to listen to me.
Right, right.
Okay.
I'll listen to you, then I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. But then you hear it as if he's judging you. Then you hear it as if he's minimizing what the issue is. Because he's saying, all you have to do is.
Interesting.
And what you want to say is, I think I want to strangle you. That's all I have to do. Okay. But let's go back to the question.
Yes.
The question is you want to offer, you can ask him in terms of his need to solve the problem is, look, I really miss you. I'd like to spend a little bit of time with you.
Okay.
What do you think the best way to do it is, so we're not going to interrupt your schedule?
That gives him the option to be the problem solver.
Right. And empowers him.
Okay.
So we've got two sides of the coin. Okay. On the one side, you give him the option to be the problem solver. Okay. On the other side, you offer him a simple solution if he likes it. The next question that you'd ask is, how do you know the difference? Whether you want him to solve the problem or you want to give him the options that he can take.
Okay, how do you know the
Well,
difference?
here's how it goes, is you try one, and if it doesn't work, you try the other.
If A doesn't work, try plan B.
Right. Having a plan B is going to make you more comfortable because you look at him and you look for visual cues. You look for if he's upset. Now, a good time to do that is when I work with clients all the time and they have something that they're concerned about. They ask me, when should I talk to him?
Yes.
And on the one side is, if I talk to him when he's upset, he's going to be agitated and churning, and he's going to bounce back at me. If I talk to him when he's calm and we're having a good time, I hate to spoil it.
That's very true. So when is the best time to talk to him?
Okay, now this is a hard answer because people don't like hearing this. The best time to talk to him is when he's at ease, when he's calm.
That can be a difficult thing, especially under a pressured situation where they're acting as if they're a workaholic and constantly on the go, finding that time. But it's crucial to talk to them then, when they're at ease.
Because if they're agitated or if they're tired, they're going to have a bounce-back response.
Okay.
And the response is designed to keep you away and stop the conversation.
Ah, I see.
If they're
deflective.
Yep.
So if I've tried both plans A and plans B,
Yeah, okay.
and that still doesn't seem to work, are there other options?
There's always an option as long as we're breathing in and out.
Okay.
All right. The next option is to take a look at yourself and say, am I taking care of myself?
All right.
Am I doing things that are interesting to
Little
me?
self-love.
Exactly so. And the other question to ask is, am I happy with my own life? And how much am I doing this because I'm feeling a real void, and how much am I doing this because the relationship is inviting me and it feels empty? So you take a look at yourself as part of it, and you see what you can do to nurture yourself, and you can see what you can do to have a sense of purpose, and see what you can do to have a sense of contribution.
So does that create healing for you as well, if you've been dealing with anger and resentment?
Exactly. Exactly.
Interesting.
You know, they say, physician, heal thyself. Well, person, heal thyself. You can't look for answers for yourself and your spirit in somebody else. They can sit next to you. They can point out on the highway where you're supposed to go, but they can't take you there.
Very true.
So only we can take ourselves there.
So in terms of justification, for those sitting at home saying, all right, my husband is definitely a workaholic, is justification come back to the idea that your husband sees one of two versions of himself, either the hero or the victim?
Victim, right. And that's how they're justifying. Rule of the universe and interaction is you never attack somebody else's self-justification. Because all it generates is a second justification. And then after you try the second justification, then it becomes an attack, which is you don't understand.
So what can you say to help them understand that they're a workaholic? Even if you feel that they understand that you want to spend more time together, and they say to you, I wish I could spend more time with you too, honey. I miss you. I wish I'm doing my best. I'll figure it out. How can you help them understand they're a workaholic?
The idea is we have to move from that is understanding that they're a workaholic is a negative label. What you need to do is create a bond between you and them so they get in touch with this part of them that loves you. And you're not trying to get them to understand.
Okay.
Because understanding, the guy understands at the office and he has a gun and a knife. And
that's taking us away from those 2 points of view again.
That's right. So I don't want you to understand. I want you to feel close to me.
Okay.
I want you to care about me.
So that should be our focus.
Right. And if you care, if you know I care about you, and I know that you're working as hard as you can, and you love me, and I respect that, then I'm going to get softer. And the other piece is, are you coming from a place of anger, or are you coming from a place of understanding?
And that's the key thing to understand, and to look at yourself and ask yourself, am I coming from a place of anger or a place of understanding? And understanding is where we want to be. Thank you so much, Dr. Marty. I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. It went like this.